The number 6.25 and we have to round off. Then what we see, the preceding digit is even number, then it is round off to 6.2. If we have the next number 6.35, 6.35, it is round off to 6.4 because the preceding digit is odd number. And we know it, if the rightmost digit to be removed is greater than 5, it means 1.348, it is round off to what? 1.3, and this one is greater than 5, then it is round off to one more digit, that is 4 plus 1, 5. To the next one, in this case, if we have the number 1.344, this is lesser than 5, then it is round off to 1.341. This is how you can round off a number. Let us discuss the next topic, that is dimension analysis. What we study in dimension analysis will know how to convert one unit of a physical quantity into another unit. That means let us discuss dimension analysis. In this way, in this dimension analysis, we will convert one unit into another unit. How to convert? In order to know it, let us take example. For example, if we have a question that to convert 3 inch into centimeter, then how to convert? I will tell you an easy method how to convert. We know what we know. We know 1 inch is equals to 2.54 centimeter. Clear? Then what we have, how to convert? We will write it 1 inch, but we will also write the first one numeral together with their unit by 2.54 centimeter. When we see 1 inch is equals to 2.5 centimeter, it means both are equal. That means when we divide it, what we got? We will got 1. Clear? To the next, we will also write 2.54 centimeter by 1 inch. It means both are equal. Then we will, when we cut it, we will got 1. It means this is an equation which will help you to convert one unit into another unit of a physical quantity. What we have to convert? We have to convert 3 inch into centimeter. Then which one we have to choose? What we have to got? We have to got in centimeter, not in inch. Then we will multiply this 3 inch with this one. Why? Because if we multiply with 3 inch, then inch will cut off by inch. And what we have only centimeter. Then only we take this part of the equation and multiply it with 3. It means we will take this part. We will multiply 3 inch this side and 3 inch this side. There will not be any differences. It means 3 inch into 1 the right hand side and 2.54 centimeter. We will also write the unit too by 1 inch into 3 inch. As it is in right hand side together with any left hand side, then there will not be any differences. Let us inch cancel to inch. We have 3 inch is equals to 2.54 into 3, and we have the unit centimeter. On multiplication, 3 4 12, 1, 3 1 16, 1, 3 2 6 1 centimeter. It means what we got? 3 inch is equals to 7.62 centimeter. Let us take another example to understand it more clearly. So first one, question: convert 2 liters of milk into meter cube. In order to convert liter into meter cube, what we will do? We know 1 liter is equals to 1000 centimeter cube. You know how to convert 2 liter into meter cube. We also know what we know. Let us write in the form of equation. We will write 1 liter by 100 centimeter. 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeter. What we have the value? It is equals to 1. When we divide 1 meter by 100 centimeter, both are equal. And when we divide, we will got 1. Or we can write, what we can write? 100 centimeter by 1 meter. Both are equal. Clear? Let us cube it. Why to cube? Because we have to convert into meter cube. That's why we are going to cube on the both sides. What we have? We have 1 meter, 1 cube, 1 meter cube by, we will cube it here. If you cube on both the sides, then there will not be differences. Clear? 1 cube equals to 1 and meter cube is equals to meter cube. 1 cube equals to 1 and meter cube equals to meter cube. By 100 cube and centimeter cube. It is equals to 1 equals to 100 cube and centimeter cube by 1 cube and meter cube. What we got are, we have 1 meter cube by 10 to the power 100 to the power 10 to the power 6 centimeter cube. It is equals to 1. It is equals to 10 to the power 6 centimeter cube by 1 meter cube. Clear? We have to convert 2 liter. We know 2 liter is equals to 2 into 1000 centimeter cube. And we have to convert into meter cube. Therefore, we will take this equation. Why? If we take this equation, then meter cube will cancel meter cube and we will not get the result in centimeter. We will get the result in centimeter cube. But what we want to get? We will want to get the result in meter cube. Therefore, we will choose that unit which we have to remove. Then we will take this one. We will multiply with this unit. It means I will take it here 1 or 1 into what? 2 liter. It is equals to 2 liter. This one is equals to 1 meter cube by 10 to the power 6 centimeter cube into 2 liter. 2 into, that is 1000 centimeter cube. What we see here, this centimeter cube will cancel centimeter cube. And what we have left here, 10 to the power 6. And this one is, it is equals to, what we have, 2 into 1000, 2 into 10 to the power 3 meter, 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power minus 6. What we have the unit? Meter cube. It is equals to 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube. Clear? We will discuss the next one, law of chemical combination. It means we have certain laws that will explain the chemical combination. What are the laws on the basis of which we can write, we can know the chemical combination processes. Let us discuss it one by one. The first law we will discuss, that is the law of conservation of mass. The first law is law of conservation of mass. As you know, this law was given by Anton von Lavoisier, and the law of conservation of mass was forwarded by Anton von Lavoisier. In which year? It was forwarded in 1789. Anton von Lavoisier, what he says, what the law of conservation of mass says, as you have studied in class 9th, that mass can never be created nor be destroyed. What it says, the first one, it says, according to law of conservation of mass, mass can never be created nor be destroyed. Mass can never be created nor be destroyed. Anton von Lavoisier in 1789, he performed the various combustion reactions, and what he conclude that the masses of the reactant is equal to the masses of product. Why it is so? Because during the chemical reaction, the mass cannot be devised and destroyed, the atom cannot be destroyed or not be created. If it can't be created, not be destroyed, then the atoms in reactant is equals to the atom in product. Let us understand this statement, conservation of mass, by an example. We have an example, that is, when we heat calcium carbonate, CaCO3, it is converted into calcium oxide with lime plus carbon dioxide. Let us see how the mass is conserved in the reaction. What is the mass of calcium? It is 40. What is the mass of carbon? 40. What is the mass of carbon? 12. What is the mass of oxygen? That is 3 into 60. What we have? We have 100 grams. So the next, in the product side, what is the mass of calcium? 40. What is the mass of oxygen? 60. What we have here? 56. To the next one, what is here? 12 plus oxygen. What is the mass of oxygen? It is 16 into 2. Clear? Which will equals to 12 plus 32, that is equals to 44. When we add up here 100 grams, when we add up the masses of calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, it is equals to 100 grams. What we see here during this chemical reaction, what we see, the masses of reactant is equals to the masses of product. It means during this chemical change, the mass is conserved. It means it is not created. If it will be created, then it will be greater than 100 gram. It means here what we have 100 gram. It means it is not created. If it will be destroyed, then it will be lesser than 100 gram. But this is not the so. It means during the chemical reaction, mass can never be created nor be destroyed. During chemical change, the atoms of different element in the reactant is equals to the atom of different element in product. It is stated by Anton von Lavoisier on various combustion reactions in 1789. So the next one we will discuss law of definite law of definite proportion. This law was given by Joseph Proust. This law was given by Joseph Proust. This law was given by Joseph Proust. What he stated? By a number of measurement of various compounds. What he state that in a definite compound, the ratio of masses of different elements is constant. This is also known as law of definite proportion. In order to justify it, what he does, he observes cupric carbonate sample. What he observed in cupric carbonate sample, he observed the proportion of copper, the proportion of oxygen, and the proportion of carbon. He took two samples, one is natural sample and the other one is artificial sample of cupric carbonate. And what he observed, that the proportion of copper, the proportion of oxygen, and the proportion of carbon in artificial sample together with natural sample have same proportion. It means what he state, by doing so, by knowing this, he state that in a chemical compound, in a definite chemical compound, the ratio of masses of different element is fixed. Let us know it by taking another example. If we take water from anywhere, from here, from Delhi, from Calcutta, from America, anywhere. If we take the water from anywhere and when we see the proportion of the water which is taken from the different sample, then what we got? We got it has masses 2:16, and it means the ratio of masses of hydrogen and oxygen is 1:8. It means the ratio of masses of hydrogen and oxygen in water obtained from different sources is fixed. This is known as law of constant proportion. Let us discuss it. In order to prove it, Joseph Proust worked with two sample of cupric carbonate. The first one is artificial and the next one is natural. Percentage of copper, percentage of oxygen, and the next one percentage of carbon. He obtained in artificial and natural sample. In artificial, the percentage of copper is 51.35. The next one, the percentage of oxygen is 9.74, and the percentage of copper is 38.91. It means he obtained two samples of cupric carbonate. One is artificial and the next one is natural. and he determined the percentage composition of copper, oxygen and carbon. Then in artificial he obtained the percentage of carbon, copper B 51.35, oxygen B 9.74 and carbon B 38.91. So the next one, in natural sample, when he obtained the percentage of copper, oxygen and carbon, he obtained the percentage of copper B 51.35, percentage of oxygen B 9.74 and the percentage of carbon is 38.91. What he conclude? He conclude, if we are talking about a definite sample, it is not depends from where we have obtained the sample. If we have a definite sample, that is cupric carbonate, then the composition of various elements will remain constant irrespective of the sources from where it is obtained. And he stated that, what he state, by doing so he state the law of constant proportion. It means he stated that a chemical compound always contain exactly same proportion of element by mass. It means a chemical compound always contains exactly same proportion of element by mass, irrespective of the source from where it is obtained. In another way, what we can say? We can say in a definite chemical compound, the ratio of masses of different elements is fixed. This is all about the law of definite proportion.